if you are about to redo your kitchen, such as we were, and you're looking for a good use for your old granite or quartz countertop, this might actually be a good project for you, especially if you're in the need of like patio furniture. So essentially what we did, we had our kitchen redone, and we didn't, of course, there was no monetary value to the old, at least for us. There didn't seem to be any monetary value to the old countertop. And it's granite, and it's thick, solid granite countertop. It's pretty heavy. And so just had an idea to use it because as a patio table. So I took, after we got it out of the kitchen, measured the slab, and of course it's not damaged. Thankfully all the edges are pretty straight. The rounded off or sanded flat edge is here closest to our house, but the other edges, eventually I will try to sand those down to make them a little bit smoother. But essentially what we did was we went ahead and I measured everything out and went and got some 4x4s, which is what I use for the legs. This bracket piece along the bottom is a 1x4, and then of course I've got up underneath the bottom here I've got a 1x6 that I used to do the top portion to make sure that it was stable, because of course, again, this granite countertop was very heavy. It took 4 of us to actually pick it up and put it on the frame once I got everything done. And wanted to make sure that the legs and the frame that was supporting it was strong enough. The other thing that I did, and of course if you're going to do this as a project, there's not a lot of overhang here. And the reason for that is this particular slab is about 3 feet wide and about 5 feet long. So what I did was I made essentially the legs. I actually put them in a smaller square surface, leaving about an inch on each side of the table as an overhang. And on the ends, there's only about a ½ inch overhang on the ends. So of course, if someone is sitting there, that's one reason why I put the supporting bracket in the middle there. I put it on the inside to give you a little bit of leg space, but that outside, and I actually did the same thing for the top, but the outside is on the outside supporting bracket at the top is on the outside. So I wanted to make sure that you had a little bit of space to be able to put your feet in there. It's kind of slide a chair up. Even if someone wanted to rest their feet on it, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But the biggest thing, of course, is you don't want to make it too narrow, because then it could be unsteady, and then that might cause it to, somebody bumps it or something, cause it to fall over. And of course, if this table was to fall over, it would take more than one person to be able to lift it. So how I attached the granite countertop to the frame that I created, and if we go over here, I'll show you. It's another frame. We have a smaller piece that my wife wanted, like a food preparation table for when we're grilling and that kind of thing. So what I did was, this one is pretty finished. I had my brother-in-law actually paint the legs and everything. This is treated wood, so he painted the legs and everything to match with the same paint as the deck paint. So it should last through weather and all of that. The top of the inside is not painted, but it'll be covered by plywood. So I'm putting about a 1/4 inch thick piece of plywood on top of here. Cut it and put it down, and then I'm using Gorilla Glue adhesive across the plywood, and then placing the granite countertop on top of that. So this frame gives you a pretty good idea how the big one is made, because I essentially did the exact same thing, making both frames. This one is a little bit taller, of course, and since it's not as long, I only used feet or legs on the corners. And of course, I just measured out the 4x4s to the height that I thought was good. This one you can actually stand and work at. The other one is made for you to sit. It's a little bit lower. I think it's around about 36 inches tall. And this one's about 42, I believe. But I actually pretty much made it the same level as the railing on the deck. So it'll sit once it's on top. It'll sit just about an inch higher than the deck railing. But this is, like I said, you can see how I put this together. The bolts that I used here, they were somewhat expensive. They're 4-inch. Basically, they're 4-inch deck bolts, and you can't see them that well. And I don't have the package any longer, but they're 4 inches. And the reason why, of course, is because this railing piece is only it's about an inch thick, and with that being 4 inches, I wanted to make sure it got all the way into the legs as much as possible. So I bought about 4 packs of those, and they were, like I said, they weren't cheap. They were pretty expensive. And then, of course, like I said, all the wood and everything, and basically put this frame together. Made sure everything was level. I used a level to make sure the legs were level. Made sure all the legs were cut perfectly straight. So you want to measure twice, cut once, as they always say. And like I said, just put the frame together and put it there. And like I said, this one is a little bit shorter, so I didn't put a center leg. So I didn't think that was necessary for this particular one. It is higher, so there should be no overhang from the edge of this leg to the edge of that leg. You know, there's going to be no overhang on this particular table because it is taller, and I wanted to make sure it had a good foundation, so that it will be much harder to tip it over. The other thing you want to make sure is my legs, they probably in this video look pretty straight, but they're actually angled out just a hair. Not a lot, but just a hair, so that I had a little bit wider base than I have on my top surface. And I did the same thing, of course, with the table here. So this, of course, is the leftover piece of the granite countertop. This was a corner piece that was that we were able to separate. The stove was actually sitting on this side of it, and then there's the sink. The sink countertop was here, and so this was in the corner. So it's pretty straight and even. The only thing that was broken off was the seam where it was connected here with adhesive. So it's pretty straight. So that is the countertop that is going to go on top of this frame. So that's pretty much it. I hope that this gives you some ideas. Again, even if you don't have a quartz or a granite countertop that you're taking out, or if you just had an idea, or if you wanted to, and I guarantee you this is probably going to last longer and is stronger and easier to clean than most patio furniture. Later on, I may actually drill a hole in the center for an umbrella or something like that, which I have to get special tools for because it is granite and we don't want to crack it, but because then it would be a waste of the whole project. But that is, again, even if you don't have granite, if you just want to make a patio table, taking these steps would probably, it would be fantastic. And using a thicker piece of plywood on the top, or even a laminate, will make this a whole lot lighter. So you could actually probably put more of an overhang, because you wouldn't have the concern. You can actually make it wider as well. You wouldn't have the concern of it tipping over and actually hurting someone because it's so heavy. But again, that's what we did. I hope you hope you find this interesting. and hope that you're able to possibly use this in your own personal application. All right. Hope you have a fantastic day.